Hello, everyone. I imagine you're wondering what the heck happened in D.C. today. Well, Trumpcare is dead. Trumpcare died today because they didn't have enough votes. But let's just go back a little bit. Remember several months ago when Trump won the election, when the Republicans secured their victory in the House and in the Senate, they said their number one agenda item was going to be to repeal Obamacare and to replace Obamacare. I remember telling you on previous Facebook Lives that I have voted over 65 times to repeal the Affordable Care Act, but I have never once voted on a replacement policy. Now, I'm in my 7th year in Congress, so don't you think if there was a replacement that I would have voted 65 times on a specific replacement? Well, because there was none, we never voted for one. So what happened is Paul Ryan got together with the Republicans. They came up with their replacement for Obamacare. The right wing of their party, which is the Freedom Caucus, decided that it was still way too generous, that they did not want to have a health care plan like that. The quote-unquote moderates in the caucus were concerned that too many benefits were going to be taken away. So in a desperate move to win the votes of the right-wing part of the Republican Party, it's kind of weird to say, right? Because the whole Republican Party is right-wing. But anyway, the much more conservative wing of the Republican Party rejected it and said that's not the plan they wanted. So they kept giving more and more of your benefits, of our benefits away. And they came up with a plan that it would essentially not provided much coverage at all. I mean, they wanted to get rid of regular hospital visits, emergency room visits, hospitalization, prescription drugs, laboratory services. I don't know what would have been left in terms of health care coverage. That's what they wanted to do away with. But let me just tell you something, because the failure of this bill today is a perfect example of what happens when the community mobilizes. People all around this country have been protesting. They've been going to town halls. They've been making it clear that they did not want their health care taken away. And I think it's a victory that I hope everybody out there is celebrating, because your efforts paid off. And it just goes to show you that the more you organize, the more you mobilize, the more you protest, the more you call offices, you can truly make a difference. So understand that the victory today is your victory. So what happened specifically? Speaker Ryan decided to pull the bill. Now what that means is that he decided at the last minute not to put the bill up for a vote. Well, I kind of wanted it to be put up for a vote. But let me tell you why he did that. If he put the bill up for a vote when he knew that it was going to fail, every single member of his caucus that either voted for the bill or voted against the bill, it could have been used against them. Now, you should know, of course, that we were looking to see at some of the Republicans that, if it comes back to the House changing one way or another, you pay attention to how people vote. So if you know something is not going to win, why have your members vote on it? So that's why he pulled the bill. That's what it means to pull a bill. Personally, we come back on Monday. I'm not sure you're going to be hearing about replacement of Obamacare anytime soon. I think they're going to lick their wounds, go home. When we come back on Monday, they're probably going to turn the page. Now then there's 45. What is 45 doing? I don't know if you saw the press conference he just gave a few minutes ago, but it was pretty crazy. Surprise, surprise. He said the reason why the bill failed was because Democrats wouldn't vote for it. Now that's just crazy, because the Republicans didn't need any Democratic votes on this bill at all. You need 216 votes to pass a bill in Congress. Well, there's over 240 Republicans. So why did they need our votes? So Trump is actually trying to say that the reason why Trumpcare failed was because Democrats didn't vote. Now, remember, this is the master negotiator. Remember, he said that he knows how to make a deal. He's the best deal maker in the world. He was going to come in here and he was going to make a deal and we were all going to love it. He actually even said in his press conference that he never called for the repeal and the replacement. He didn't say that he wanted to do that right away. This is the part of him that I don't understand, because there's 1,000,001 recordings of him at press conferences calling for the repeal and replacement, saying it was going to be one of the first things he was going to do when he took over. And now that he's failed at it, he said he didn't say it. So another day in the crazy world of Washington, D.C. So what is our next move? Well, I think on the Democratic side, it's going to be to continue fighting for health care reform, for the Affordable Care Act. And let me tell you why. Although they failed in terms of their repeal and replace, there are things that they can do to damage the Affordable Care Act. So 45 said the next thing he wants to do is tax reform. Well, one of the ways you could hurt the Affordable Care Act is to get rid of the taxes. You know, the taxes on the millionaires and the billionaires. You could cut those taxes. That would actually hurt the Affordable Care Act. But truthfully, I think that this was a major, major blow. This showed that the Republican Party here, although they're in charge, they're much more equipped to be an opposition party. They're not really equipped to govern. And we've talked about this before. So it's one thing to protest. It's one thing to say, you know, we want to get rid of Obama. We want to get rid of Obama. Well, when you're in the catbird seat and you control the White House, the Senate, and the Congress, all that stuff you've been talking about over these last few years, well, now you got to do it. So they're in big trouble. So stay tuned. I'll be back at you next week. I'll let you know what's going to happen from here. But please go out and celebrate a victory. And if you ever doubt if your phone calls, if your emails, or if your protest signs are worth anything, pat yourself on the back because you won this one. Thanks.